Okay, yeah, I'm on way early today. But I started to just do a video and upload a video, but I kind of wanted to get some interactions from you all. That's why I decided to go live. Um, I'm going to see if anybody is going to jump on. Okay, I see a few people. All I need is a few. I kind of wanted to, I was, like I said, I was going to do a video and just upload the video. Hello, loves. How are you? I see Natural Born Queen and I see NXZW. And I wanted to get on. It's not going to be a real long video. Like I said, I went live because I want to get some interactions. Hey, Miss Deborah. I wanted to talk about like some cold cases. Hey, Tamarion. Of course, as you all know, my profession is an investigator. I'm licensed. I have certifications and things of that nature. That's what I do on a day-to-day basis, like all day, every day, right? Hey, Hakia. Hey, Samuel. Hey, Kawana. And I do a lot of work with the federal government, of course. They contract my company a lot. But as you all know, I started a nonprofit and I haven't really been working it, but I have it. And it was because when I first started doing my shows, because I have a TV show on Comcast, I just focused mainly on cold cases and missing persons. Of course, we all know that there are a lot of cold cases out there, right? And I know a lot of people try to get into stuff like that, but in order to be hired, you have to be licensed. A lot of people go to jail for impersonating professionals, right? And um, so one of the reasons I started a nonprofit is because you can volunteer with nonprofits and things of that nature, and it's definitely my passion. There are a lot of cold cases out there, you guys, that have not been solved. Missing women, especially, is I'm talking about of all races, but especially African American girls and women, they don't get the coverage in the media as much as any other race would. We saw that Natalie Hollowell, I believe, she went missing over in Aruba, and you saw CNN and all of those channels talking about her case years after it happened until it was solved. But we have African American children and girls going missing right here in the United States all day, every day. They are a target now because they already know that they're not going to show those black kids. They might do a segment on them, like a 30-second little segment or something on the news one time, and then you're not going to see it anymore. We also have a lot of cold cases. My company, um, like the cold cases that we're hired for, we of course I would never talk about. Even with the federal government, I do a lot of the federal prosecutors will call us in to do especially with death penalty cases and things of that nature. They kind of call. I do more work with the government. I do some work with high profile attorneys, defense attorneys sometimes, but I mostly do work with the government. And of course, those cases I don't talk about at all. It's just not even good to talk about. But there's still cases that are cold, right? That and that's one of the reasons I did this live, is because I know I have a lot of people to get on. They've seen a lot of my other shows, and we're all in different states. And I want to get back into talking about that, even more. I know we've been on the Doss case. Doss case is an ongoing case. That's something that we're going to talk about until they bring this thing home. And trust me when I tell you, they are. I know some of the investigators on this Doss case. I know a couple of federal agents that's on this Doss case. They working this thing and they're going to bring it home. They're not crooked. I could say that. They're not. The ones that I know, they're not. Okay. So Dolph is going to get justice, just like at some point, because it has already started on a lower level. Regardless of what people say, the two that they got are two of the ones that are involved. Okay, as I've always said before, it does not end with them. So that's why we consistently bring attention to what's going on. And but just like Dolph is getting his justice, we want those cases that have gone cold. I want to bring awareness to those cases and for those people to be able to get some type of justice, even if we can't, investigate it, maybe we can bring attention to it so that the local agency can start back to investigating it. Hey, Jim Jones. Because a lot of times when cases go cold, they go cold with the police department. The families call us, and a lot of times they don't have the funds because what is available to the police department is available to us. But we have to pay for those systems, and you have to be licensed to have them. Okay, they don't just give out the systems that we have to just anybody. You have to be certified. We have to go through hell, okay, to get the access that we have, but we have to be responsible with them, but we have to pay for them when it is free to the local police departments, right? So that's why when I say, well, if the families can't afford to hire private investigators, you can bring attention and awareness to the cases. And once you do that, you bring attention and awareness to the cases, the police department will oftentimes pick those cases back up and get back out. You could put pressure on people to make them get back out and start looking at these cases, right? Because there are a lot of cases, especially when people have called me, that could have probably been solved if the police department would pick them back up, but then at the same time and start working them. At the same time, they have so many cases to come in all day, every day. After about 6 months, they'll shelve them if they don't get any tips or something like that. They don't get out there on the beat and start doing what they're supposed to do, right? So that's why I want to, when cases have been cold for a long time, when people start seeing that stuff on the internet, they start seeing it on TV. A lot of times you'll get anonymous calls, right? And they'll say, this case, I remember that case. It happened about 10 years ago. I was scared when it first happened. I want to remain anonymous, but can I tell you what I know? I think I can lead you to who did this, because as time go on, the person or the people that they were afraid of no longer have that kind of control over them. So that's why I got on here. I would like for you all, if y'all know, if in you all state also, because I know it's something that I'm doing with my members too, it's something exclusively that we're doing. But I would like for you all, if you're living in different states, regardless to if you know of any missing persons or something like that, I would like for you all to kind of send me an email so that we could talk about that, so that I can start back bringing awareness to that. At least once a week we could talk about that, because we have so many missing children and missing young ladies. They're just flat out just doing it now and don't have no qualms about it. I can't tell y'all how many times that one of the Walmarts here or around the Mid-South area, around the Memphis and Mississippi area, has been on the news because they got a Amber Alert. Some guy had it bad about trying to snatch up children out of the Walmart in a South Haven Walmart, right? And as I was saying before, they're getting so bad with these children because what the police department will do, and it's not just the Memphis Police Department, it's all across the board. What they'll try to do is they won't necessarily talk about what is really happening as far as these children being snatched up, because they don't want to send pandemonium throughout the public, right? Because see, what the public do is the public will get on their heads. It's still 11:40 there. You must be in California. The public will start getting on their heads and demanding that something is done. So what they'll say is, oh, it was the child ran away. The child is fairly young, but they ran away, instead of saying that there is a human trafficking ring that is snatching these children up and forcing them into prostitution and selling them into sex slavery, because that is what is going on, and it's mainly happening with the Black community. Okay. So that's why I want to bring aware, if you all know of, kind of help me out, like different cases in you all states, because I can't, trust me when I tell you. When I tell y'all I stay busy, a sister stay busy all the time. I was up last night and could not even wind down after I finished doing background checks for this company until about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't wind down. Like, so I stay busy all the time. But once something is put in front of me, I handle it. You know what I mean? Like, y'all got my email address. I want to start bringing, more attention as to cold cases and and missing persons. Thank you, Hakia. You're dope too. It's the lawyer one says, yeah, I was gonna ask if you knew anything about the case with Tabitha Tudor's case. She's been missing. Oh my God, I've looked at that case before. I've looked at that case. Tabitha Tudor. She was a female white from out of Nashville. I've looked at that. I have not really. Space gonna say, you own some real shit today, T. Ain't that the truth? Um, but I remember that. I kind of read about that. I didn't look into it, but I read about it. I remember that Tabitha the Tudor's case. But it is a problem that needs to be addressed. We have to protect. Absolutely, we do. I remember Tabitha Tudors was a female white from out of Nashville. I remember that. I remember. Have I looked into Rika? I haven't. Liz says, what about the Alexis Ware case out of South Carolina? You know what? I see a lot of people covering that Alexis Ware case. Um, every time I turn on the YouTube, I see where somebody is doing, many different vloggers is doing a show on that Alexis Ware case. So it seems to me that a lot of awareness is being brought to that Alexis Ware case. It's a lot of awareness being brought to her case. There are cases that really need awareness that don't necessarily have awareness brought to them that need to. I mean, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of them. Um, I mean, a whole lot of them. Um, yes, that's her. That was really strange to me. I've always wondered if sex trafficking back then was as bad as it was happening back then. I'm gonna tell y'all something. There's this lady, and I'm just gonna scratch the surface because it'll be a long story, and I'm not gonna get into no long stories. If you ever get the opportunity, because I want y'all to know how bad this is, and how long it has been going on. If you ever get the opportunity, I want you all to go and kind of look at the story of this young boy who was a paper guy from out of Iowa back in the early 80s. His name was Johnny Gosch. And there's this documentary called Why Johnny Can't Come Home. And it's so funny because my mentor, who is now a private investigator, he had worked, he was an FBI agent for almost 30 years. And the man who actually kind of broke the Johnny Gosch's case was a chief FBI agent that had retired and turned PI, which is my mentor's. He was my mentor's mentor, right? And he brought a lot of awareness to that case. He brought a lot of awareness. And Johnny was a paper boy. And he went out on his paper route one day. And this is a true story. And he was snatched up. And there was his mother was very diligent in trying to find out what had happened to Johnny. Okay. She was very diligent. She just wouldn't leave it alone. She was not getting into cooperation from the Iowa Police Department. She said she found that strange, right? So when one day she was sitting at home and there was this special on, And this is the truth. There's a picture of it. It blew my mind. There's a picture on the internet now. And um she's sitting there looking at TV. There's this special on of the president, this presidential special on the White House lawn, and there is President Bush. I'm talking about old man Bush. I'm glad he dead. Lord forgive me for that, but he just came out because I get mad. He should have been. And who's standing behind President Bush? I wish I could find that picture and pull it up. But Johnny Gosch. And by this time her son had been missing for 4 or 5 years, and she says to her husband, "That's Johnny. That's my son, Johnny." She looking at her son standing behind her son that had been abducted, standing behind the president of the United States, which was Bush, old man Bush, the daddy. So what she later found out was, because they tried to kill that lady and everything, was that her son was snatched up. He had been a part of what, look up MK Ultra, MK Ultra. I mean, it I never would have believed it if I had not gotten into it. You know what I mean? Like, if a lot of this stuff, I didn't come across a lot of this stuff now. It's like, it's really unbelievable. And they put him into sex slavery, and he was kidnapped and kind of sold to different politicians. This is the honest God's truth. Okay? This is the honest God's truth. So you always hear me say, and I always say this, and I say it for a reason, because I do work for the federal government. Okay? With the intelligence that the federal government has, it is out of this freaking world. No nigga with money, nothing. No Yo Gottis, no nobody, no Jay-Z's, no nobody could ever, their money could never equate to what the federal government has. And trust me when I tell you, they don't know anything about a lot of that stuff. There's no access to it because it's not made readily available to the public. So when you hear me say, why is it that, they have the intelligence, there's really not supposed to ever be any murders that go unsolved, or any children that go missing that can't be found, because I know the type of intelligence. And when I say intelligence, I'm talking about the equipment that they have to tap into to find anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything. There's really no secrets. So there's supposed to be a lid at some point, right, put on what is really like going on. So what happens is, if you put senators and congressmen in place to start changing laws secretly, right, to secretly start changing laws to make them less stringent, okay, to secretly start making them less stringent for pedophiles and for rapists, for kidnappers and things of that nature, it kind of puts like it kind of handcuffs what kind of sentence that the judge can give them, right? So that's kind of what they start doing, and they do it right in our faces. That's why I always say, I don't, when you hear me say I don't get caught up in certain things like that's too low vibrational to me, because I understand that there are bigger things that's going on that we really should be fighting, like being on YouTube pissing and moaning about a vlog, or going back and forth with somebody about some shit ain't true or whatever. That is beneath me. I don't mean no harm, but it's beneath me, because there's a bigger demon that we should really be putting or I won't say we, because a lot of people don't find passion in doing stuff like that. They have passion in doing other things. But as for me, I have passion in bringing awareness to stuff like that, because I think that it is a problem. So when you hear me really passionate about when I say, well, we need to be looking at whoever our local politicians are and whoever our politicians are in our state capital, which would be like for us, like a Nashville, like our governors and things of that nature. These people have a lot of power. Our congressmen and senators, these people that can make and change laws. I say that for a reason, right? So that's what I want to do. I want to get into like bring it back, bringing awareness to these cold cases, and not to, because there are a lot of them. I think about that Cleo Hall's case. That Cleo Hall's case is so solvable. And when I went down there and I talked to the police chief, he was an interim police chief at the time down there. He was so ready to work with me. But it's a small police department. He was like, I need a cold case team. And, we had started talking about some stuff. They was wanting to do some work with us. But Pine Bluff is what, like 3.5 hours away. And, hey, and I'm willing to do it. But at the same time, he was like, he went and he hired a cold case team. And hopefully, because like I told him, I said, just from scratching the surface on the Cleo Hall's case, we all know what happened. Like, we already know she's been missing 28 years because she went to this doctor's house and she never left. Regardless of what he said, she never left because he prevented her from leaving. And it's been 28 years. So we can only imagine what he did to her. I feel like, and I'll say allegedly at this point because he liked to sue people. But allegedly, I feel like, and I'll say allegedly, that it was sexually motivated. She was working part-time at his home, and I get mad as hell when I think about it. She was working part-time at his home because this girl had received a full scholarship to Tennessee State University's pre-med program, smart as she can be. A tall, thin, beautiful young girl. And she was about to quit because she was getting ready to go to college. And I think he saw the opportunity. He had fallen in love with her. I think he just liked young girls. And he came on to her. And I do believe that she resisted him. And when she resisted him, he raped her and killed her, or he killed her and then raped her, because I learned that he loved to work for funeral homes ever since he was a teenager down there in Helena, Arkansas. He was from Helena. So he liked to work for funeral homes. So, he know how to get rid of bodies. So if he liked working for funeral homes ever since he was about 15 years old, he was already sick. They say he was already weird and strange and did evil stuff. So it ain't nothing for him to have sex with a dead body. That was probably one of his fetishes. But I don't believe that she ever left that house. And I don't think that she was the only girl that he's ever done that to. And believe it or not, he's about 60, his early 60s. So he's still young enough. Hey, rest in peace, young dog. He's still young enough to do some harm to some unsuspecting women. Even though 60 something is old, he's still young enough to trick some women. Or to go get some prostitutes and do something to them. Because they'll get in the car with you for if they think you're going to be a John. And that's probably when he do his, whatever it is he needs to do as far as killing them. So, like I said, I was going to do a video, but I was like, I just kind of want to get some interactions because I do want to start back bringing awareness to that, because it really needs awareness done. And don't take it as I'm saying I'm only bringing awareness to African American women. Of course, I'll bring awareness to all races, but I do know that African American women and men don't get the coverage in the media. I mean, so it's got to be talked. This thing has to be talked about, why these Black men are going missing. See, the thing about it is, like, even when I talk about it on my TV show. Like I have an audience, a real mature audience of people that just can't handle the truth when I start talking about stuff like that. They'll call me and go, Tamara, I just love you, but that's so scary. I don't like it when you talk about that. And I'm like, but you're a black woman with black sons. You should want to know why some of these black men go missing. And they do. It's so real. They go missing because their organs are preferred. Organ harvesting is real, but people don't deal with stuff like that. They don't. And trust me, for a long time, especially when I started, because I've seen some stuff that I can never talk about. It's some weird stuff that go on, y'all. But I just I never would have believed it, because I go, dog, if somebody had told me this like some years ago, like 20 years ago, I laugh in their face. Like, this person is cuckoo. Stuff like this don't go on. I cannot believe that stuff like this actually go on, because it sounds so crazy. There was a lady that had reached out to me from California. Her son's name is Rico. Real tall, nice looking Puerto Rican guy. He played professional basketball at one point. He went to a city in California. I cannot think of the name of it. And her son has never been seen or heard from again. Real tall guy, very handsome. She can't get them to do anything. And come to find out, that city is known for, they said, men going missing and being found with their organs out of their bodies. But you're not going to see like stuff like this. You're not going to see in the media, because they black that out. They don't want to talk about stuff like that, because the billionaires, people don't think nothing of people being on a list to get kidneys and hearts and stuff for what, 15 and 20 years. They have to be on the list, but these millionaires can have 7 or 8 hearts in about 5 years. They constantly getting hearts. But people don't think about stuff like that. Like, this stuff is real. Like, I'll deal with the organ harvesting on down the road, but I kind of want to just deal. But it all goes into these, missing people. But I want to deal with these missing girls and these missing children and these cold cases. And when I say cold cases, I mean cold case homicides also, because the majority of missing people are missing because somebody has killed them. It actually ends up being a homicide. On the books, it's still a missing person because the body has not been found yet. So technically, they're considered missing people, but we already know that they're dead, right? They cannot classify it as a homicide until somebody confesses or a body is found. Oh my God, Kendrick Johnson is one of those cases, Monica. I'm glad you brought him up. I was so into that case. I'm telling you, I was so into that case. That young man, they did his family totally wrong. They covered for them folks. They covered for those people because those young Caucasian boys that did this to him, and we do know that they did something to him. Their dad was an FBI agent. And what the FBI did was they was gonna fire him. They still didn't do it right. That man at the time, the dad that was an FBI agent, and the police sheriff, the sheriff of that county, they got into cahoots and covered up what they did to that boy, what his sons did to that boy. So with the FBI, his family put a lot of, they was out in the public a lot. I think the FBI got ready to fire him, and so he went ahead and resigned. That's what happened. I hated to say that, because believe it or not, some weirdo is going to take what I just said and say and go back to the Young Dogs case and say, see, that's what they doing. Because look at what Kendrick Johnson, their dad was an FBI agent, and they cover. That's what they doing in Young Dogs case. You know, people are mentally ill. They'll take something that has nothing to do with anything and kind of put that in the same category as the Young Dogs case. Reginald Johnson said, my son was murdered 7 years ago, still unsolved. Really? What state are you in? I'm getting ready to tell you exactly what state. I'm getting ready to tell you exactly what state it was in just a few minutes. It was okay. I got it. His name was Rico Harris, and he went missing from Yolo County. Have you ever heard of Yolo County? Yolo County, YOLO, Yolo County, California. Yolo County, California. I'm gonna pull up something and let you all see something if y'all want to see it. Hold on for a second, y'all. Here it is right here, y'all. Hold on 1 second. I want y'all to see this. Like I said, this is something I've been doing as far as bringing awareness for many, many years. Um, it takes a lot of time and stuff. It takes a lot of time. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna let y'all see what I'm talking about. Was there an altered video, Miss T? Um, Reginald, what state did you say your son was killed in? Kawana, did you hear what I said? It was Yolo County, California. Is Reginald still on here? I want to know. Oh, Memphis, Tennessee. Oh, okay. Well, I need you to tell me more about that and who his investigator is too. That's on that case. Did it stop the stream? Oh Lord.